Well, hello to everybody. We are so excited to be here. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the victory moment with CK. And as you can see, I have a special guest with me, Toni Dupree, and I am excited because listen, my show today is about freedom. And I am excited to have her on with me as we talk about freedom. And if you haven't joined me for my show prior or before, I am CK. I am an author, speaker, travel specialist, and I just love connecting to you. My channel is all about positivity. My channel is all about just moving forward. And how do we move forward? And how do we keep going in the midst of the uncertainties, in the midst of the things that we just don't have control over? And I asked my sister to join me because, we've been on TikTok for a while.
Yes.
Listen, we've been on TikTok for a while and we connected. And I'm telling you, one of her videos just inspired this particular victory moment with CK, because when she was talking about freedom and talked about her experience, and she wasn't ashamed or didn't wanted someone else to understand of breaking those shackles. I got excited about it and I said, I need her on my show. I need her on my show. I needed someone to realize that freedom is just not I'm free and that's it. There's a process in freedom. There's a release in freedom. There's a mindset of freedom, and we're going to talk about all of that. We're going to talk about all of that. And, as we chatted, we're learning more about each other. And
Yes.
I know that I made a great choice when I
Oh,
did this. And when I learned more about her, I'm like, wow, of who she is. And I am just going to share just something brief about her. And then I'm going to let her share more about who she is, who she serves, and what she actually does. And I'm telling you, it's all about empowering and continuing to lift each other up and not tear each other down. And if we learn how to continue to do this, we'll see how we make things better.
yeah.
And that's what we have to do. All of us have a purpose. And if we live that purpose, we won't be jealous of each other because we all have something to contribute.
Right.
Beauty is not just outwardly, but it's inwardly.
Right.
So we can be beautiful outside, but what is that beauty that we carry on the inside? I just had to add that
Right.
because I love how we dress up our outside. But what do we give from the inside to help someone along the journey?
Right. Right.
So I'm gonna let her. You know what? I'm gonna let her talk for a minute and let her
No,
share.
no, no. No, you do your part. You go ahead and do your part
You
first.
know, and
And
I,
then,
you know what? Because I am really excited about this because I don't normally just pop up with anybody.
Yeah.
But when I do something, I'm really always led by God. And my heart was like, you're right. And I know there are many that's going to catch this on the replay. And I thank you. Those that are going to take time to check it out on the replay, I appreciate you. Thank you for joining us live. Thank you for joining us on the replay because you rock. And we appreciate all of you. And what I'm doing now is literally pulling up her or getting ready to share her, just a snippet of her bio. Because I tell you, when I was reading her information, I just got excited. I really did. I got so excited because I realized that again that I made a great choice. I made a perfect choice of who I actually chose to connect with me. So let me just read this real quickly and then she's going to share a little more. Toni Dupree is well known for her long history of community and business leadership. She is, and I did not even know, she is an author, public speaker, and entrepreneur. And she's going to share more about it. She started young. She started on the path that would lead to her very successful career at a young age. And one of the things that I want to highlight, she, she deals a lot with etiquette and she loves helping you with etiquette and how to move along with that process. So, welcome, Toni Dupree. And
Thank
I'm
you.
going to give you the floor to talk more about it.
Thank
And
you so much.
again, welcome to the Victory Moment with CK. And thank you for accepting the invite and connecting with me.
Thank you so much. Oh my God. Thank you. I appreciate that introduction. That was awesome. Thank you. Thank you. A little bit about myself is, look, I'm a small fish in a big pond. I I do believe that ordinary people get to do some extraordinary things. And that's just kind of how I look at my life. I've just gotten to do some really amazing things for other people. The majority of those people are little people. I started my career working with children. And for me, I made a commitment each year I was going to add something that would stretch me, and that's how the books came about. I never wanted to write a book, never ever wanted to be an author. It just was not something that I wanted to do. I didn't want to be an etiquette coach. It kind of just, I think God, He just saw that that's just what He had for me to do. That's all I can say about that, because I was an interior designer. And I thought that that is what I was going to do for the rest of my life. And 9/11 happened, and it changed the trajectory of the small business, So I went back to real work, is what I call when other people pay your work, is real work. And I didn't like it. I didn't like the way we treat each other. I didn't like the way we talk to each other. And I kind of still don't, on some level, depending on, you know, who the people are. But at work, it's just like people, they were not so decent, with the good morning or anything, how they asked you to do something. It was just kind of throwing a directive at somebody and or demand, depending on what the task was. And it wasn't anything you wanted to own. And I usually say, People do what's familiar. So even if you're being treated bad, if you find your way with that, there's something familiar in that. That doesn't mean you like it. It just means that you feel that you can deal with it because you hear people say things like, oh, I've done that before. I'm used to that. I'm used to people. We should never get used to being treated bad. That's like none of that is good. None of that's going to build greatness in you if you are bogged down with bad treatment. So all of these things had me thinking about what could I do. I'm always with that. I want to see what I can do to change that because I wasn't going to get comfortable. And my mother always told me, you are going to have to work. You're going to have to work your whole life because you want things. You want a whole bunch of things. You want to do a whole lot of things. So you got to work. So if that's the case, then I need to create an environment that I can work in and I can be efficient in and I can be productive and, worth my check, basically. So I started that process by finding a mentor, and I had no idea that the mentor was going to be the Oprah of etiquette in Canada. She had a huge name, and she had, like, to my 2.5 books, because I co-authored a book with someone. Um, but to my 2.5 books, she has, like, now she has probably like 30 books. And she has a wonderful career. She emailed me right back. You would figure somebody like that would be really, really busy. But she emailed me right back, and I told her what I wanted to do. And she said, okay, if you write this up, I'll help you put this together, meaning my materials, all of my materials for my workshops. And from there, I became an affiliate of the Civility Experts. I bought a franchise, just a whole bunch of things dealing with etiquette in Canada. So all of my materials and the majority of my education comes from Canada. But I started in etiquette as a child at 5 years old, all the way to like 20 something, because that was my mother's thing. You're gonna know how to act. You know how to behave, and
I
you're gonna
think
know
that's
how to write.
most parents. They'll say,
Yes.
you know what? You know you don't know how to act, right? Mm.
Mhm. Yeah, you're gonna do it better than me, was my mother's thing. You're going to be better than me. And better was a word that was used in our household all the time, which was, yes, this is fine, but it could be better, you know. And so whatever you pour into somebody is what's going to come out of them. I truly believe that. And that's how this whole etiquette came about. But each year, then, it was the books, then it was the speaking engagements, and all of that. I mean, that took on a life of its own. And then it came with several, I don't even know how many interviews, and then, just a whole bunch of things. Like I have been on Australia's, they have Ticker TV, and I was on their news program. And it's just been a lot. I mean, wonderful things like featured in magazines for, what I do, which is amazing because when I started this business, I was just like, when I tell you it was hell, it was, who are you to come in here and tell us how we should act?
Act
I
right.
was,
And normally that's how it go.
yes, it
You
was
know, normally
tough.
that's how it go.
Yes,
But
I wanted to quit. I wanted to quit this business every day. But then I learned as I got older. I mean, I've been doing this for like what, 17 years now. And
wow.
yeah, I'm old. I'm old. So I've been doing this for a long time. And the one thing that I say is, it's gold when you want to quit it every day.
Right,
Because you work
right.
harder at it the next day. I mean, it's like nothing for you to stay up all night because you got an idea, or you wake up out of your sleep and you keep a pad next to the bed and you got to jot down, or your phone and you put it in your notes. That's me. Like it's
But
all kind of notes in my phone.
one thing I would say when it comes to that, once you're doing what you love,
Yes.
no matter what happens, you're gonna continue because it's a part of you. It's what you love to do,
Right.
and so forth. And that you and I said to you from the beginning, your your story is amazing, and there's so much more that we could talk about. But I want to really focus on, when you communicated about freedom. And I
Okay.
want to talk about, let's chat about learning to let go. Learning to let go. And I'm going to let you start, and then I'm going to kind of connect with you.
Okay.
Because one of the things you put on your video was learning to let go when
Yeah.
it comes to freedom.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
was your actual thought?
So, um, I lost my mother in 2011, November 16th, 2011. And it was the hardest thing that I had ever been through. So I felt like, and I still do kind of, but it's not as bad. Like I was living without something I so desperately needed to live, and I didn't have it. And I still had to live, and I had to do more in order to make that life worthwhile. And I did not have it in me. I did not. It took me 6 years to get out of that dark place of losing my mother. It was just I miss her every day now, but it was really hard. And whoever said it gets easier, and I used to say this, whoever said it gets easier, I want to punch them in the face because it doesn't. You just learn to live. And I'm not even a fighter. Like I've never had a fight in my
Right,
life.
right.
But
But the
but
reason why I'm
there
laughing is because someone just shared on social media, because she just lost, or I should say, her husband just passed on. And someone was, um, she said, I try to understand that some people just don't know what to say. And she
mhm.
said, so I'm going to say it as gentle as I could say it. In other words, shut up.
Mm, yeah. I
And
mean, yeah, 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 yeah,
I
yeah.
said, OMG. She said, if you really don't know what to say, please don't say anything, in other words.
That
Thank
is
you.
true. That is true. Because
And I was like, oh my.
you have
you know,
people that they don't understand, and I get it that you feel that you want the person to move along, but it's a process. Life is a process. Everything that happens is a process. You need to take time, to feel it, and you've got to feel it. And my biggest thing was feeling that pain every day.
one of the things
Every
you
day
can't
was
tell, you
incapacitated.
cannot tell someone how to grieve and how
Right. You
long
can't.
to grieve and
Mm-mm.
all of that.
Right.
Everybody goes through that process differently.
Right.
Some people
Right.
go through it more quiet than others. Some people may take one scream and it's over, and they
Right.
just
That's right.
deal with it day by day. Some
Yeah.
people may continue to mourn moment by moment, and it
Hmm.
depends on that connection to that person. If I've been living
Right.
with that person every day, you're not going to feel it the way I feel it in a different perspective if you haven't been living with that person every day and you've
Yeah.
just been visiting them, or you just been at a distance. And I'm not saying you're not going to feel it, but you're not going to feel it the same way if I've been living with them 24/7. It's a
Yeah.
different perspective. But
That's true.
as you're sharing, when it comes to letting go. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I, a friend of mine's mother said to me, there was this movie after my mother passed away. I asked three girlfriends of mine to go see this movie, and one of the girlfriends' mother went. I cannot remember the name of the movie. I need to look it up. But it's the movie. Reese Witherspoon was in the movie, and she lost her mother.
Okay.
And she hiked in the movie, and she said she was gonna walk. That was her thing. She was walking until she got to be whoever she needed to be, you know. And that, I don't know, when I heard that, when I saw the preview of the movie, I was like, wow, I need to see that, because she went through a lot of disturbing processes because of losing her mother. There was drugs, there were men, there was, she just didn't care. She just did a whole lot of things.
Wow.
And it can take you down that road, because loss is a very powerful, disturbing process. If not, if you don't know how to be easy on yourself. And um, I'm an only child, and on my dad's side, I'm an only grandchild. On my mother's side, I have two cousins, a girl and boy cousin, and I'm the oldest. And they're in their 50s too, but they're younger. So
Right.
um, the thing this lady said to me, my friend's mother said was, "You need to let your mother go." So after the movie, we went to have dinner, and
Right.
I wasn't well. I wasn't. I mean, I was trying to get there, but you can't force that. And this lady who I love my friend's mother. I mean, and I call them my Mexican family, because we're from Houston, and they were just there when I got the news that my mother passed. I worked with my girlfriend. We were behavior therapists, direct
Oh,
therapists. So,
okay.
yeah. So when I got the phone call, I got the phone call at work, and she and her mother, they were there. I mean, they're like my other family.
Of the family.
But this
Yeah.
lady said, "You need to let your mother go." That's how
Right.
she said it. And I mean, it didn't have much warmth to it. And I think I faded to black. I do. I mean, I lost it. Like, I didn't curse her out or anything, but I was pissed. Like, slammed the dish off the table in the
Table.
restaurant, and
Right.
I was, it wasn't good. It wasn't good, and I was hurt, and I was hurt. I was so hurt. It was kind of like she could have said anything else, and it would have went over better than that. But I
Mm.
realized in that moment it was necessary. Like, I needed to hear that for such a time as what I was going through, where I was going to.
Right.
Okay.
We was going
Okay.
to. Right.
Right. So it wasn't so much about letting her go as it was letting the loss of my mother go, because I was living in the loss and the pain. And I had to teach myself how to start living in her memory. And it takes a long time before you even know what your problem is. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know. People say things in there nuggets. I let everybody talk to me, and I filter it out. I filter out all the bullshit. Yeah, I mean, BS. And so, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
You know
sorry.
what I like, right?
BS.
Because that's a good
Look, I'm
that's a
talking.
good
I'm so
point.
comfortable that I'm talking to my girlfriend. I'm so
I
sorry.
know. No, but you know what I like, right? Is that when you talk about just letting go of allowing people to talk to you
Yeah.
and not feeling that, one of the things, and this is what I know Oprah is not perfect. I know. We know Oprah is not perfect. But one thing I like about her is that she listens. And you know what I
Mm,
say that, meaning that you listen to everybody. And you
right.
know what I mean, you listen. And then you just allow, and then you wean out the nonsense.
Right.
You don't have to
Right.
say anything. You just wean out the nonsense. And that's what
Right.
you have to do. And
Right.
part
You
of
do.
letting go, as I'm flowing with what you're saying, part of letting go is realizing it's not so much about the circumstance, it's about freeing yourself.
Yes.
And this is what we're talking about with freedom. And I
And you know what
really
else?
hope someone gets this tonight,
Right.
because
I
we're
do too.
so bound. Go ahead, sis.
Right. I do too. I do too. I hope someone gets this too because these are not necessarily lessons that anybody can teach you. I mean,
Teach you.
they can direct you to where you need to start thinking, but it's not anybody. You can't be taught how to get to your freedom. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, we have to be honest. A lot of people like to have an owner. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, they want people to tell them how to feel and how to think. And that's their right. They deserve that. That's not wrong. That's who they are. So you can't tell anybody what they ought to be doing or what they need to do. You have to allow purpose just to take root. And if what you are supposed to do is share, I can't help nobody if I haven't been through anything. I know that today. I know that today. All that loss was for a reason. And look, I was the female version of Job. I lost a house, I lost my car, I lost my job, I broke my ankle, I lost my mother. I could not pay. I moved into a townhouse, a friend of my mother's townhouse. I couldn't buy a job. First of all, I didn't have no money, but I couldn't get a job. I was gainfully employable. I mean, I had employable skills, but I
Right.
could not. And I was interviewed by somebody, and I remember saying, Waterburger wouldn't even hire me, and I was so
Wow.
at a low because I was like, how can you not get hired at Waterburger? What is what is really going on? Waterburger will not. But that wasn't where I was supposed to
Exactly.
be. I mean, once you get past that, you realize people don't want to hire you if you can get up and go and get something better. You're not gonna be there for a long time. People are not gonna want to invest that kind of time. I wasn't thinking like that. I was thinking like I needed a job. And
Right.
and then that hit me so hard. I was like, I can't even get a job. I mean, you go through all this. You're not seeing the blessing because you don't know how
Right.
to
You're
do
not seeing the other
it. Right.
part, the other side.
You
And
don't
this
know
is
how to
where
do
I'm
that.
going. This is where we were going. And this is
Right.
why I wanted to talk about it.
Yes.
Because my thing is, and because we're going through a lot right now.
Right.
Emotionally,
Right.
a lot of stress.
Right.
Because so many lost their jobs, so many lost loved ones, so many, and how do you let go? How do
So,
you keep going? How
so,
do you not let it overtake you?
oh,
I need you to share one thing about how did you keep going. One thing.
so I kept going because I'm all I got. I got to show up for me.
Right.
I mean, if if I can't show up for me, that's what kept me going. For me, it was showing up for me proved that I could show up for somebody else. You know, your mother,
Absolutely.
that's your mother. I mean, it was a no-brainer to take care of my mother. I mean, I
Exactly.
didn't even have to think about that. And that's why I lost everything and I would lose it all again to bring her back. I would. I would in a heartbeat because I want to hear her, you know, I want to hear her tell me she loves me. I want to hear her tell me she's proud of me. You want to hear that, you know? Um, so for me, it was this lady put all this in me to be
Right.
something. Okay. I can't fail her. I can't fail
Right.
her by not showing up for me.
Exactly.
So, right. So I took real small steps. It was, I used to say, Lord, why do you keep waking me up? I don't have anything to live for, and I wanted to die every day. I did. I just wanted to die because I couldn't figure out what I was living for. You know, these people out here, they don't care nothing about me. I'm not, I mean, the only person who really loved me is gone, you know. So I went down that rabbit hole. And every time the sun hit my face, when I was like, damn, again with this, and I'm just failing every day. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't catch a
And
break
that was your reality at that moment.
at the moment. So
That
then
was your reality at that moment.
I woke up one day, my mother's favorite verse was the 23rd Psalm. That was her favorite scripture. That's what she loved. And I woke up one day, I didn't even know that I knew that scripture by heart. Just knew it. But I did. And I woke up saying it one day. When I opened my eyes, I just started reciting the 23rd Psalm. And that wasn't me, that was God, because you
I
got to get out
know.
of this rut. So the baby steps that I took was I got out the bed. That was something to celebrate.
What was it? You got
I,
up.
I got out of the bed.
You got up
I got out of the bed.
and out of the bed.
Right. The second thing was I made up the bed. I started notating all of all of those, those great things. Like, okay, you got up, so you show yourself to be ready. Okay,
Ready. Right.
so when you get up, you what does that mean to whatever it is that you're doing? Okay, I'm ready. I'm getting ready. Is what getting out of the bed meant. Then making up the bed is I'm getting prepared. You know, getting maybe looking at making some phone calls and making one. That's progress. Whatever steps I made moving forward, I celebrated myself. I started doing that. And then one thing led to another. You keep putting one foot in front of the other, and then you start remembering those, you know,
Mm-hmm.
those cheers that you used to get from her, and then that's starting to live in her memory. But
Right.
that is a process, and that just came to me, for me to do. That was my process, and it was a long process. And then, of course, I took a couple of steps back. You know, uh, if I walked out of the house and I went to get something, maybe it was to get a job, and I failed. Well, I might have taken a step back, and then I had to talk myself back up again. You're
And
gonna
see,
fail,
this
you
is
know.
where I'm going to share this when I talk about holding on as you move forward. This is part of holding on as you move forward because
Hmm.
you kept going, and that's holding on. You kept going, and that's holding on, even though everything didn't always work out.
Right. Right.
So your story is one of triumph because you kept holding on. But most importantly, what I'm hearing, and I'm going to share some things with it as I connect with you, is, you know, you also didn't forget, even though you didn't even remember the things that but you were reminded of the things that you knew of God,
Yeah.
because He kept you in the midst of it all. As you kept going, that was another thing. But one of the main things that kept me focused on what you were saying is that you got up out of that bed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Winners rise. Winners get up. Winners, this is Winning Wednesday, and I just want to add this, and then I'm going to let you keep saying what you're saying. Because we're getting into holding on as you move forward. We're getting into freedom being a state of mind, because you had to have a state of mind of being free. Because that mindset you had to have was, I can't sit in the same place.
Right.
In order for me to, as I said, let go, I had to do something. I had to take action.
Right. Right. So, you can't lock yourself in the failure. And the other thing is, I don't like labels, So I didn't tell I may have said, "Golly, you can't get a job," and you're job ready. You I mean, you teach the interview process. You coach people. This is what you used to do. And it was this little girl. Like I used to have a terrible habit, biting my nails. And this little girl, her mother, like during the time of the trying to rebuild, I wasn't sure I wanted to even work in my business after my mother passed, because she was my biggest cheerleader, and you don't have her. So you're like, what's the use? Anyway, I can do something else. And this lady called me to work with her daughter. And I said, ma'am, I'm not doing that right now. And she was like, no, a friend of mine told me about what you do and how you do it. And she explained to me what was going on with her daughter. And I was like, okay, I'll I'll shadow her at school. I'll go to the school and shadow her and see what's going on. So she said, but I have to pay you. And I was like, no, you don't. Ain't nobody else paying me. So I was because
No, you didn't.
because I was like, I
No,
couldn't.
you didn't. You told the lady she had to pay you.
I did. I was like, I don't even know what to charge you because I'm not even doing that right now. I'll just go to the school and see what's going on. That's kind of how, and she was like,
That's how you felt. Right.
and she was like, I have to pay you something. I was like, you could just pay me $50 or whatever. That's how, really. I mean,
That's how you felt.
because I didn't even know if I had it in me. And I kept saying, I didn't even choose this business in the first place. I never wanted to be no damn etiquette coach. That's how I was about it. I was like, this is, I don't even know how I got in this, and I was so irritated. Like after my mother died, I was so irritated about having to
Irritated.
rebuild something that I never brought to the table in the first place. And so I started working with this little girl, and she had eczema, and she was being bullied. One thing I do not like, I don't like a
Oh
bully.
God.
I
Don't.
can't stand a bully. And I don't have an appreciation for somebody giving someone a hard time about something they have no control over. She's a child. And then she bit her nails. And so all of that makes you withdraw and shrink. I don't like to see children shrink. I do not. They
Right.
did not ask to come here. They did not.
Right.
And you prepare a place for these kids so they can be, so they can walk tall and they can be confident. And I was really pissed at the teachers, because when I went to the school, I didn't like the teacher was real lackadaisical about the situation. So that motivated me, seeing this child seeing her shrink, that that really put some fire in my belly, to tell you the truth, to get it together. So, I worked out a program for her and I worked with her. She is beautiful. She's graduated from college.
College,
Yeah,
right.
she is lovely. And that, when you see what you did take root, there's no money that anybody can pay you for that
Hey,
feeling. Okay.
exactly.
So she didn't like that she bit her nails. And I do something really different when I work with children, whatever their issue is, I make it
Mhm.
my issue. So I'll say, like I told her, I said, I bite my nails too. I mean, I'm an adult. I can hide it. You know what I'm saying? Like I can,
Right.
you're
Right.
little, you're not going to get nails and all that kind of stuff. We can't do that. And I said, what I will do is I will go through this process with you. We'll stop
With you.
biting our nails together. And she said, you will? I said, I will. And we'll check in with each other. So that means we'll be each other's accountability partner.
Accountability. Right.
But that was me. That was my road back into my business. Is what that
Right.
little girl did for me. That's what she did for me. So not
She
only did
literally encouraged you back into, yeah.
right, because she gave me something to do. And when you said earlier about we have to do something, and I said, I wrote down here because I always take notes when I don't know why I just do. And I said, we all need something to do that leads us to our purpose. That opens the door till you get into your freedom
Freedom.
because you got to create something in order to be free of that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? So when, like, I know what I can do. I built this business out of pocket. Like, I never got a loan for my business. I mean, I have almost gone bankrupt for my business, but it's like my baby. It's what I created. And I love it now, even though I didn't choose it for myself. He did that, but I accepted the challenge, you know, and I think I made pretty good on it so far. There's some other things that I would love to do. But so far I'm very proud of the work that I do. I'm proud of my reputation. I love that people trust me with the most precious thing
So, yeah, personal
you ever
things.
have because they're children. Your child is the
Exactly.
most precious gift that you will ever have. And for you to trust me and my skill with that, that is very freeing because that gives you
Mm,
confidence. As your confidence builds, you are more free. You know, like
right.
when I was going through all that loss, I wasn't very confident. I was broke. You know, don't nobody want to deal with nobody broke. You know how society is. And I'm not one for putting on airs. I mean, I am an etiquette coach and I do like what I do, but I don't like to deal with hardy-torty people. Like I like to
Right.
get in there with my hands. I like to, like I've been to taking my business to the juvenile detention center, my business in the
Wow. Okay.
jail. I mean, I can work with
So
the
you
mentally
actually give
ill.
give back, in other words, to the community.
Yes, yes. I mean, my goal is to work with these young people who constantly get into trouble. Like if I could partner
Like
with
the
an
trouble.
attorney and work with them with their clients, I would love to do that because
Right.
it's a lot of misconception. Like we see somebody and we sum them up. I don't like that. You don't know who somebody is just because they wear a hoodie. I mean, people are notorious for that. I have a hoodie. I'm not
Mhm.
going to take nothing from nobody that don't belong to me. You know, if
Exactly.
you see, if you are very limited when you do things like that. And I think those things need to be exposed. I think, of there's a lot that can be done just on a smaller scale that would do
Right.
something huge in somebody's life. But it takes a lot of work to do that. And it takes
Right.
a willingness to do it. Um,
What's the key? A willingness.
willingness, willingness is the key. I
So
learned my resilience after my mother passed. I didn't have to think about that while she was living because
right.
your mother protects you from a lot of things,
Uh,
you know?
all the time. And
Yeah,
it doesn't matter how old you are.
exactly. It's some stuff, like I would say, for me, being an etiquette coach, I think the biggest thing that I didn't want to do is deal with people because I do not like to tell grown people anything because you do know yourself, you can't tell grown people anything, especially if they look like us. They don't want to hear what you got to say. It ain't nothing wrong with me.
I'm just gonna smile on that note.
I mean, and it is true. I mean, I'm not coming in any place to tell somebody everything that you are doing is wrong. That's not what I'm doing. What I am is showing you options for best practice. If you want to do it better, here are some
Like
options.
that.
Well, goddamn, you don't want no options either.
A best
That's not,
practice.
you know,
And the reason why that sounds better than you dictating to someone, because guess what? Now it's your choice.
right,
It's your
right,
choice.
right,
It's
right.
your choice.
I
Now
always
you make
offer
the choice.
options. Yeah, in
Mhm.
everything I offer options. You
It's
know,
your choice.
right.
So let's bring it in as we close out. And I want to talk about these two last things.
Okay.
But I want to talk about freedom being a state of mind. And then I want to close out talking about freedom allowing us to be who we are
Yes.
while ensuring our right to be happy
Yes.
at all, and protecting our rights at all time. Let's talk about first the state of mind when it comes to freedom, because all that you dealt with and all that I dealt with, and it's so funny because I'm gonna show my book
Okay.
as it talks about a state of their own, and you can see it behind there. And I'm just gonna share a quick testimony of, when I was in the midst, and some know, some don't know, went to work, normal day. And it's so funny because that's something else you and I connect with. I love working with youth. And most
Hmm.
people don't know that. I do. I like, because I have a strict about me, but I also know there's a certain way you have to handle youth.
Yeah.
You can't come to youth the same way I come to you.
Right.
You just can't. There's a way that you got to talk to them, deal with them, and handle them.
Right.
And they know that you care. And once they know that you care, they're gonna talk to you.
Yes.
Even if you're strict, they're gonna talk to you.
I agree.
And I was, I do what I do. And I work for the school system, went to work my normal day. All of a sudden, something broke out that wasn't normal. I'm in the midst of it and I wound up injured and
Mm,
wind up not being able to really go back to work the way I would want to go back to work because the doctor is not going to allow me to go back to work. And so the next thing you know, I'm like, what is going on? My life is changed and shifted. See, your life was changed and shifted because your mom was taken away. My livelihood
yeah.
was taken away, and the thing that that I kind of relied on, like, hey, I need a job.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
yeah, with the benefits.
Yeah. Yeah. I
You
understand.
know, until I did what I want, the other part that I wanted to do, because I was always thinking about becoming an entrepreneur because I did certain things, but I was always nervous about becoming an entrepreneur because I was like, listen, I need my money flowing.
Right, right, right. Right.
So all of that as I'm getting ready to close out. And this book, when I was a part of it, got being becoming a part of it, I didn't want to tell my story because I was kind of nervous of letting people know what actually and I still didn't go into detail because you need to know the detail.
Mm-hmm.
But the bottom line was, what do you do? And I was just saying about it, and how do you proceed when things happen suddenly? What how do you where do you go? How do you do? And like I said, the state of mind. And I had to have the state of mind that I wasn't going to give up. I
Right.
had to have the state of mind that there was something ahead that I didn't see. So this is what I want to say to someone that's listening. This is what I want to say to someone that may be coming back on the replay. You have to have a state of mind that I am going to win in spite of what I'm been through, what I'm going through, in spite of my loss. In spite of my mom may have left me at this moment. My dad may have left me at this moment. My daughter, my children may have lost my child at this moment. But I can still go forward. I may have lost my husband. I may have the relationship that I thought may
Mm-hmm.
not, you know, may not be what I thought. All of those things. And I'm just using examples, but I
Right.
can still proceed in all the uncertainty. Why? Because you said it from the beginning. Because I got up. Because I did not let the shackles hold. I did not allow it to hold me back.
Right. Right.
And why? Because it begins and it ends with your state of mind. I was talking
Right.
to the doctor today, and I said something negative. She said, "No, we're not going to go there." She said, "We are not going to speak the negativity." And I started laughing. I said, "Is she telling the person that's always talking about don't talk negative?" And I said, "Because it happens.
Yeah. I
It
mean, we're
happens
human. Yeah, we're human. We're
when you
human.
get overwhelmed by all the stuff. It happens."
Right. The key is being able to snatch yourself back. Nobody is perfect. It's nobody is perfect. And I do appreciate about the win, and I get it. But sometimes you're not. Freedom is being able to be okay, even if you don't. Like, I'm not a person who wants everything. I'm okay with losing. I'm okay with being wrong. If I gotta be wrong in order to get a right result, I'll be what's wrong. That don't bother me. And I truly, what were you gonna say? Go ahead. No,
Mm.
no.
You hit me with that one because I keep saying to people, winning doesn't mean that you always win.
Right, right.
Winning means that your mindset is a winning mindset. That no matter what happens, you come out the winner
You
because you
gotta take
don't
the blows.
let it right.
Yeah,
Because you took the blow
you
and you
gonna take the
still
blows. I have been punched in the gut 2 billion times with this business and in just in life, you know, but it just made me a little tougher in other areas. I am a sensitive person. I used to be super sensitive. I'm not that sensitive. And in business, I'm less sensitive. but I'm still sensitive, but it's just not as it's not like it used to be. Um, and it's growth. You have to acknowledge your own growth. You have to. It is very important that we acknowledge and see our own growth. You don't need somebody else to validate your growth. You do not. And you need to be honest about being a freedom is being able to be honest when you just can't do it anymore. My life, it was like a juggling act. I mean, shit was all over, I was trying to catch it and I couldn't. And sometimes things fall apart only so God can put them back together the right way.
Say it one more time.
Sometimes
Say it
things
one more
fall
time.
apart
And
so God can put
we're
them
done.
back together the right way.
And we're done. There is nothing left else to be said. There is nothing else left to be said. Like we panic sometimes, and the panic doesn't help the situation. Getting
Mm-mm.
angry doesn't help the situation.
No,
Getting frustrated doesn't help the situation. I
no.
laughed because I was sharing with you behind the scene all that was going on today. And guess what? Everything worked out for me in the
Yes,
midst of it all.
yes,
Everything that I needed to get done
got done.
got done.
You just be easy on yourself.
But
That is my
you get extra because you like, I need it done this way. No,
right,
it don't have to be done that
right,
way.
right.
And as we about to close out, you know, I I just get excited because I know I'm passionate about helping people to see the good.
Yeah,
Cause I know there's so much so easy to see the negative.
yes, it
It
is.
really is. I mean, especially when you're hurting. And I want you to close out with that. I want you to close out with just what I was asking that last part when I talked about, you know, pursuing happiness, the opportunity to pursue happiness and protecting your rights when it comes to freedom and
Hmm.
becoming the best you. Close out about that. And then I'm going to close out and we're going to close out the whole thing. Mhm.
Okay. So as it happiness is in you already. It's already there. It's kind of like a scavenger hunt. You find it. And the way you find it, this is this is per Toni Dupree. The way you find it is you find things out that connects in. And you'll know when it's right because there's that warm feeling that you get when something is just right. And that's your
You
happy. It feels different
find things out
out that
from
connects with your
within.
inward happiness. Yes. And so the way you do that is what you do for other people. So like if I get angry, like when, I work with children who have, behavior issues. And I'm the best. I always say I am the best candidate for that because I did a TikTok video where it says I have not behaved not one day of my life. And I truly have not. Even if I have behaved well, at the end of the day, I've done something to just light a fire under something, just to make it interesting because that's just how it goes. I know that that's my personality. So with children, I tell them I get mad 9,000 times a day. I don't act on it. I feel it. I can feel anger. I don't like to see when people are disrespectful or ugly to other people. I don't like for people to be ugly to me. But I don't have to react to everything. I can move over and make room for that. I don't have to be in that ugly space. So that's freedom, is knowing a better way to move and be and speak and do. That's freedom, allows you more options. I'm free to think through this process. I don't have to just think one way because 7,000 people have done it the same way. That's kind of probably why it's hard for me to get through a football game, because I always say, how come they keep going down the middle if they know they're going to get tackled? How come they don't go another way? But see, I'm not a man, so I don't understand that. So, so I can't get through.
Listen, we could get into that's another
So
conversation.
that's my thing.
Mm,
But and that's how I look at life, though. Why? It's insanity to keep doing that the same way. So freedom is being able to speak to that thing. Of course, you're gonna use intellect. You're not gonna speak, like
intellect.
that got no sense. So you're gonna speak to it. I don't understand. You got to give something, get something. Freedom is being able to give that so you can get something. And
Something.
you might have to give a lot. And then you don't talk
Exactly.
about it. You don't talk about it because it's learning. It might be your lesson, it might be the other person's lesson. If we withhold everything, then we are not doing what God asked us to do. We're supposed to be here for each other, kingdom building. What I do for you, it ain't got to put a price, it ain't got to be a price tag on everything. Sometimes it is just the giving that opens up the freedom. And everybody's freedom is
Wow.
different. And I truly believe that on everything I love. I truly believe that because we're not here just
Well
for
said.
ourselves. We're here for each other.
Well said.
Maybe I got to give until you get it. Maybe that's who I'm supposed to be to you. And if I got somebody in my ear making me feel stupid about what God asked me to do, I might need to get them out my ear, because when has giving ever been wrong? Free up some of those things. Nobody asked you to lose everything. Free up some of those things just by practicing giving. It may be given a decent word. It may be given a compliment. I think more women need to learn that. Compliment somebody. Stop looking at people like they're crazy and tell them that's a nice dress. It don't take nothing for you to tell somebody they look nice today. You know, I be like, and I have asked people, why are you looking at me like that? Do you know me? And I'm not being rude, but it's rude for you to stare at me. Oh, I just like what you have on. Well, tell me that. And then we
Oh,
start laughing about it. Have fun with it. We
right.
don't have fun. We don't have fun. We need to have childlike faith. That was a sermon at my church Sunday before last. Childlike faith. Children are the freest human beings you ever want to meet.
And
They
they
don't
tell you the truth.
they,
And
they
don't
don't
even
care.
realize it.
They
They
don't
will tell
care.
you it's ugly and keep going.
That's
They will tell you
right.
it's ugly
Right.
and keep
Right.
going. And free as
Right.
a bird. They ain't
Right.
worried about your response. They ain't worried
Right.
about what you say. They be like, you be like, really? It
Right.
does?
Right. When I
Ugly. That
hear
don't
people
look
say
right.
the cost of freedom, my freedom is not for sale. So I don't have to think about the cost of it because I'm not
Exactly.
selling it. Okay. So, and my freedom has absolutely nothing to do with another person. So it
Mm.
doesn't. It's not rated against anybody. It is
Right.
yours. And so your question about knowing your rights, well, you know that you have the right to live and live well. So if you have that right, so does somebody else. Make room for them. And
Right.
I say that all the time, make room for them.
Yeah.
I mean, all that talking about people and all that. I don't talk about people, I talk to people.
Two
If
people.
you did me something, I'm gonna tell you what you did. We're gonna talk about it. It doesn't have to be bad. I had a situation like that on TikTok. I addressed it where it is because I grew up with a lady that said, where you show your ass is where you get your ass embarrassed. That's how my mother raised me. So, although I'm not in the business of embarrassing people, but we need to talk about it where it happens. So you can have
And let it go.
that's freeing because once you deal with it, you can let it go. We already talked about that. We don't have to talk about it. And if we didn't get
And keep it going and
right,
keep it
right,
back and forth and all of that stuff, especially
right,
adults.
right.
Especially adults.
Yes,
My
ma'am.
thing is, and as we close out, and we talk about this freedom, don't use freedom to be malicious.
Right,
Don't
right.
use freedom saying, I could do what I want, I could do what I want. Nobody's not saying you can't do what you want. But one thing my bishop said, and I keep repeating it because it was so strong. He said, it's okay to take care of you and to think about you
Hmm.
and put you first. He said, in back of that, make sure that you're caring about other people too.
Right, right. We
It's
don't live here for
nothing wrong with
ourselves.
that.
Right,
But
nothing.
you got to care about other people too.
Right.
And
Think
my thing
about me.
is,
Right. Think
right,
about me as I think about you.
stop being nasty.
Right.
And the bottom line is, stop assuming things. And this is
Right.
where a lot of situations where people are not free because
Yeah.
they keep assuming things.
Right.
And
Yeah.
as we're closing out, I want to leave that with people. The bottom
Yeah.
line is, let it go.
Let it go.
The
Yeah.
bottom line is, free your mind. The bottom line is, you cannot be free to be you if you are bottled down with things of other people, with things of the past, with
Yeah.
things that you keep holding on to, that
Yeah.
and not let it go,
Yes.
with
That's
things
true.
that serve no purpose to you,
Right.
that shackle and keep you bound. And you said it perfectly, so as we close out, be free.
Be free.
That's the message you want to send to y'all today. Be
Be
free.
free.
You have a purpose. God has a purpose for you,
Hmm.
you know. And if you notice, I am an elder of the church, but one of the things I purpose in my heart is I want to meet people where they are.
Yeah.
Because everybody doesn't understand, and I'm gonna use my sis words right now, the etiquette of the church. So a lot of times you want to share certain things. I'm not hiding who I am. If
Right.
anybody know me, I don't hide who I am.
Right.
But what I do, I respect where people are.
Yes.
So, but you can never have me to hide who I am. I'm gonna tell you who I am,
Right.
But I respect that everybody is not where I am.
Right. Right.
Everybody's not gonna understand my etiquette.
Right. Right.
And I'm using that because etiquette is an individual, and everybody has a different perspective when it comes to their etiquette. And you have to understand that and be real with yourself when it comes to freedom. Let
Right.
it go.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any closing you want to say. You need to let people know where they can connect with you. We're gonna put the links in the where you would want people to connect with you. We're gonna put it
Okay.
in the chat. Thank you again for joining me. This was amazing. We could go on and on.
Yes.
I
Yes.
listen. I didn't expect it to go this long, but I enjoyed the conversation. We were a mess, but I
It was.
think the message was real.
Yes.
And
Oh, yes. Yes.
listen, People could take part in what they want to hear and hear some of it, part of it. It's okay. Sometimes you have to get the message out.
That's right. Just
And
gotta
that's
get out.
it. And that's what we wanted to do. And this is what we did. And I wasn't going to stop in the middle of what was being done because this was a serious message
Yes.
to be free,
To be free.
to be
I
free.
thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
You
It's,
know,
I mean, it was a beautiful conversation. I love it. Thank you so much.
yeah, I mean, this is what it's all about,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed, you know, us, how we say, fixing each other's crown,
Yes.
you know, and working together. And
Yes.
this is just the beginning.
Yes,
You
it
know,
is.
this is just the beginning. I found another sister and someone, you know what I mean, and another connection. And we
Yes.
definitely will be connecting more,
Yes. I
because
love it.
this was amazing. The story and, how it proceeds and all of those things. And I
Yeah.
hope someone really got the message.
Me too. Me too. Me too.
you know I'm going to be sharing it, snippets, sharing it, because listen, this is necessary right now,
Please,
because
I would
so
love
many are
to.
hurting. We're
Yes.
trying to destroying each other, taking
Yes.
mothers away from their children, taking fathers away from their children, and we're
Yes.
just not getting it.
Mm-mm.
We're not. And we need to really get it. We have to get this message in the sense of be free, be free, and
Free.
do whatever is necessary to free your mind, to free your heart, because you can't go on until you do that.
That's right.
You're
Okay.
going to be stuck. So I don't know if there's anything else as far as where they can connect with you, and then we're closing out. And I
Okay.
my closing remarks.
On Facebook, it is Toni Dupree, and on
Oh,
Instagram, it is either Toni Dupree or C Dupree on Facebook. But either
mm.
way, if you pull up
Okay, and
Toni
then
Dupree,
if you
yeah,
want to, you could actually put the links, there, or just share the links with me, and I will put it there. I will put
okay,
it in both the YouTube and
okay,
on my page, so that you can
okay,
also connect with my page and stuff like that. Because we did, but we're making sure that we're connected. You know what I
okay,
mean? Because we connected in TikTok, because I know we put everything in there also, so we could do
okay,
it. We could take it from there. So
okay,
again, we appreciate everyone that came in, popped in, those that took time. We thank you. Those that are going to catch us on the replay, because we know it's a little long and lengthy, but we hope that it was, and believe and trust that it was necessary, and
yeah,
also encouraging, also motivating and inspirational. Again, be free, be
be
free,
free,
be free to become the best you. Be free to keep going and moving forward.
yes,
Um, and this, again, that this was. I am Carmen King, Elder Carmen King, CK, and this was Toni Dupree, and we're excited and was excited to be here to share with you. We thank you again, and please come back and connect with me on my YouTube page. And those that don't have not connected with me on my Facebook page and my IG, it's at Elder Carmen King. CK is the connecting that you will see. You'll connect with me and see it there. Let's chat. Let's continue to chat. And guess what? If you are interested in chatting with me, send me an inbox. Send me an email at kingmiracletravels@yahoo.com. Let's see if you have something interesting that you would want to share with the people, and let's continue to fix each other's crown, ladies. Gentlemen, you may have something you want to share. Let's talk. And
Yes.
let's continue to move forward. Let's continue to build each other up and not tear each other down.
Yes.
As we continue to, as I always end off, stand up. As we continue to stand up, stand out, and stand strong. Thank you again as we just continue to go forward.
Yes.
Blessings and love. Blessings and love.